Hey, what's going on, guys? ArtificialRest here, and today I am going to teach you, well, this is actually going to be another tutorial video, and in this day's tutorial I'll be teaching you how to color correct your Call of Duty or whatever gameplay that you are uploading to your YouTube channel to get the best results, because the standard color correction that already exists in the game is and especially Call of Duty games are very faded out and very grayish, which you will see once we apply some new color corrections to it. And so what you want to do is have a gameplay. I have a gameplay right here, which I just recorded on the Xbox 360, and you will see that the gameplay or the color is very faded out once we start editing it. So as you can see, I'm on my Windows 8 laptop today because I pretty much do all my editing, because I find that Premiere Pro CC works best with this computer and not my stationary computer. So let's just open up Premiere Pro and go ahead and open a new project. You can call this whatever you want. I'm gonna call it Ghost Color Correction, and just click OK. All the other settings that was there is not really that important, because pretty much all we want to do is all the editing happens in here anyway and at the render settings, so it really doesn't matter that much what you do in the beginning. So once you have this open, you can go ahead and open or click and drag in your clip, and it will import the files. And as you can see down here, it says, or the Adobe Premiere is confirming the file, which in my case is an MP4 because I use an HD PVR like a noob. I haven't bought a Elgato yet, not sure I will either. So there it is, there it's done. And what you want to do next is click this icon right here, new item, and this way you can create a new sequence. Now let's see, I usually just click on the HDV 720p 25 frames per second, because the frames per second we are going to change that to 59.94 frames per second anyway, so it really doesn't matter what you take. But this is just to get the HD settings and the 720p settings implemented in that from the beginning, so we don't have to do that manually later. Alright, so what you want to do now is just simply drag it on there, and as you can see, before we do anything with this warning, as you can see under the frame rate, we can see now that our sequence that we created has only a 25 frames per second, and the gameplay video has a almost 60 frames per second, because that is what the Call of Duty Ghosts runs in. That is its current frame rate. So what you want to do now is change sequence settings. Now this will simply just make the sequence into a 60 frames per second or 59.94 frames per second frame rate, and let's just click that, and as you can see now it's changed. So now we have a so now our sequence is in the same frame rate as is the gameplay. So what you want to do next, now before we do anything, I'll probably gonna just mention some other things other than color corrections as well. As you can see, we have these two black bars. We get this when we record with the HD PVR. I'm not sure why, but we still do it. So what you want to do is go to your beginning of your video and choose the video, of course, so you get up some effects here. Now if you work with different clips, you can simply, this small bar right here, timeline, makes you choose, you can go to the beginning or the end. This is really useful when working with audio and you are using audio that fades over into another clip. So, but anyway, to get to the beginning, just simply click and drag this little yellow and red line here, just drag it onto the beginning, and you want to extend the motion bar, and here you can see scale, we want to go into that and just type in 101. That will zoom it in at 1 pixel, or I don't know if it works with pixels or whatever, but it will zoom it in enough that you just won't see those black bars and the gameplay doesn't look zoomed in at all. So you can go ahead and close that now. So now we can finally, well actually there's one other thing, that if you're going to be making like gameplay commentaries, you might want to lower the volume on your video clip as well, because this is going to be very loud and it's just going to blast your speakers and pretty much tone out your own voice. So as you can see, we have a audio effects tab here, which we can just extend by clicking that small arrow right here, so we can get the volume tab open. Now you can drag this very far back to no audio and all the way, not that much farther the other way, but we'll keep it at 0, and I find that -17 is more than enough to have your voice over the gameplay. So, and you can still hear the gameplay weak in the background, so it works nice for that. So now let's get into the color correction. Let's just go into an area where we can see some real difference. Alright, here for instance we will start by adding, it's not that much that we're gonna add, it's pretty much just 2 different effects which will make a huge difference, as you will see once we start adding it. Let's see, video effects, and go down to color correction and find the RGB curves. This is the most important effect that we will be adding. All you have to care about or pay attention to here is this master box. So what you want to do is, I usually go, started the gameplay, didn't mean to do that. Now I'm probably never gonna find the area again. Well, it doesn't matter, we can just take it from right there. Right there. Damn, what was I saying? Yeah, I usually just go up the third, or in the middle of the third and second box right there, so I can drag it into this box, and I click and drag right down here, which will darken the gameplay or make the video darker, but we'll also want the contrast from the whites or the lighting in the gameplay, so we'll do the same area from the other side, and we'll drag that up. Usually I prefer to have it in the middle of the box. Just drag down the blacks a bit more. Actually, not so much, as if you could drag it all the way, it gets way too black. We want it somewhere where you can still see all the colors, but you want it to be darker and give more contrast than the original does. Alright, so before we see what kind of difference the effects have made, we want to add another effect, which will be, let's see here, sharpen, if I just can see it. Blur and sharpen, here we go. We want to add sharpen, just click and drag the sharpen effect up to the clip in the timeline, and we want to enhance the sharpen amount. Now if you enhance it too much, let's say we put it at 50, you will get this super hard white borders around pretty much all the hard edges in the video, and we do not want that. We want to put it at like maybe 3, just to get some small hint that there is a border around the hard edges in the video. So as you can see now, if you just play up a little bit, you can see that the colors are much more lively, and it's much more contrast in the actual video than it was before. So let us do a before and after. So we don't really need to remove the sharpen to see the before and after, because that just adds a small detail that works very well with the RGB curves. But here is the big difference. So we'll turn it off. Look at that. That is so gray and so washed out. Now when we click back on the RGB curves, with, without, with, without, with, and it's just amazing how much of a difference basically just one effect does. And that is really all you want to do to your gameplay. So I guess I can show some render settings, or at least the render settings I've used on the recent Call of Duty Ghost videos. Oh yeah, to render the clip, just press Ctrl M and it will get up the well, pretty much just choose your clip first, I guess, or not. I don't know why Ctrl M isn't working. It usually does. Alright, we'll do it the old-fashioned way then. Export media, and we want to choose age 264, and on the preset we want to, I already have a preset right here, but that is not the one we're going to use because that is like a couple of months or like a half a year old, 6 months old. So what we want to do is go down here to, I know the Premiere Pro has a YouTube layout or a YouTube preset already, but this doesn't let you choose 60 frames per second, and 60 frames per second is what we want to use. So you can pretty much just click the HD 720p 2997 frames per second, and as you can see here in the video, you can change the resolution, although I recommend you don't. But what I do recommend you changing is the frame rate to 5994, which is the base frame rate of the game. So you should always use the same frame rate as the game has on the actual console or PC you're playing. You should change the render settings to be, or the frame rate in your render settings to be the same as your actual game's frame rate is. So there's not really anything else that we have to change other than this. We want the target bitrate all the way up, and as you can see, the maximum bitrate also moved with it. What this does is enable more information to be put into the actual video, which will make it much more sharper. If I say put it right down here at only 365, you can see the estimated file size drastically went down by almost 1 gigabyte. But if you have good upload speed and enough storage space to store all your videos, 1.2 gigabytes isn't too bad for a video. You can also name your session or your sequence. I'll just call it Ghost Color Correction, the same as the project. So what this will do is now export the actual video, and you can just click export. If you click export, you won't be able to work simultaneously as the video exports in Premiere Pro, but that is usually not a problem because I just click export and then I go do something else, and when I come back like 10-15 minutes later, after like getting something to eat or watch some TV or something, it's pretty much done, because especially this PC is really fast when it comes to rendering. But if you find out that you want to work simultaneously with another project inside Premiere Pro while your video is rendering, this might take longer time, but this will queue the video, which will make you able to work in Premiere Pro simultaneously as the video is rendering. But yeah, I believe this has been pretty much everything you want to know. I can just show you real quick how it looks. Encoding sequence, it will say that first, and here we go. This, well, it doesn't say render or export, it just say encoding sequence, but that is pretty much another word for rendering actually. So as you can see, a 8:42 minute clip, only 6.5 minutes. We're probably gonna go up to 7. Just gonna stop it there, just so I'm not wrong by saying around 7 minutes. But yeah, that is pretty much all you would want to know about color correction, which is a very powerful tool when it comes to sharpen up your video, and you could just see the massive difference between the two, with the two differences with and without the RGB curves. So anyway guys, this has been ArtificialRest, and I hope you have enjoyed this Premiere Pro tutorial. I think it's like the second one I've ever done, so please leave a like rating and a comment if you have any questions about Premiere Pro or any color correction in general, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.